assume everybody can see me. All right. Well, I think, the starting point is that we all understand now more than ever that change is something that we cannot change. The last 3 or 4 years, change has not only been constant, it's been rapid and it's been brutal. But one of the things we've also learned is that we can actually survive some of the challenges that I think our business has had over the last couple of years. And that's going to be an important theme that I'm going to carry on right through the presentation today. It's about attitude, it's about finding solutions. Because each of your businesses are unique. Each of your individual businesses have got their own pressures and their own challenges. And you have to find solutions for your programs. So the change recently has not only been constant, it's not only been quick, but it's been disruptive. If you look at what we've gone through, we went through COVID. The war in Ukraine has an impact on the world economy and will continue to have an impact on all our businesses. And the way we look at our business, the way we look at our staff, the way the staff looks at work, the way that all workers look at how they interact with the employer, I think has changed. So what we have started to learn is that we have to find a way to manage change. The way we've been running our businesses over the last 20 years has always changed, of course, but the rate of change has got more radical. Now, it's our response to that change that's more important than anything else, because we can find answers, we can find solutions, but we've got to have an open mindset to look for those solutions. So I very quickly just want to share my experience on managing change and how frightening it can be and how results can be found with what happened to us in COVID. Now, COVID is a new situation for all of us. We'd never been in a situation where our business could be so disrupted so aggressively as it was during COVID. And I remember when the lockdown was announced, for the first 2 weeks, I remember it was autumn, the weather was fantastic. And I went home not really knowing what we were doing, but we all went and sat at home. And for the first 2 weeks, it felt like we were on this holiday. It's beautiful weather. We sat with our families. We watched a lot of TV. Everyone started subscribing to Netflix. So the reality was that none of us really knew what was to come. And I was in a positive mindset. But then after 2 weeks, I remember when the president announced the lockdown for another couple of months, when reality hit. And that night, I did not sleep. Because all of a sudden, everything that I knew, my business, my life, was put into jeopardy. I had to reimagine what the problems would be. And the reality was that when we challenge with something so difficult and so scary, we don't really know what the answer is. So the first 24, 48 hours, I was terrified. I thought we're going to lose our business. The economy is going to fall over. There'll be revolutions. I mean, I felt like my whole world is crumbling. But I've been in situations like that in my life before. And one thing that I've learned is that I always find a solution. And then as a company, we were forced to come up with ideas that help to survive. And I think all of you, in your own individual ways, found ways to survive. For those of you that remember, what we did as a company is we started offering direct delivery to consumers through the salons. So the salon made its margin, you survived, and we made our margin, and we survived. So the lesson was not only the survival, it was the mindset that we were forced to create to survive what actually happened. And that is a lesson that I think you need to learn. Learning or getting education is not only about different concepts and different ideas, it's a mindset. So the very start of the seminar today is I want to talk a little bit about mindset. Because if you have the right mindset, you get the right results. And that is so important. Because often I go into salons and I can see that the salon owner is under pressure, their business is going backwards, and they're just sitting there almost accepting it, waiting for themselves to go broke, waiting for their business to go broke. Well, that's got to change. And hopefully, if you've learned anything the last 3 years, is that the way you deal with problems is more important than the problems themselves. Because until you've dealt with the problem, it remains a problem instead of an opportunity. Because the reality is that you work in a competitive environment. All your competitors are trying to find answers for the same thing. So look around you, see what the people that are surviving best are doing and copy them, but try and come up with your own innovation as well, because what you do will determine your results. And I put together a couple of points that I really believe and I try to live my life by, and I've called them the rules of life. And they're very simple. There's nothing you'll hear that you never heard before, but putting them together and living them is really what makes the difference. And the first one is that actions have consequences. and may have a lasting impact on the rest of your life. So everything that you do today will have an impact on what happens for the rest of your life. That is quite a scary concept to get your head around, because everything you do today determines your future. So if you want to make changes, if you want to have a successful life, if you want your business to survive, you've got to start making changes today, because that really does impact the rest of your life. There's no reset, undo, or edit button in your life. And that is even a scarier concept. Once you've done something, you can't go back and undo it. On a computer, you make a mistake, a spelling mistake, you undo it. Life is not like that. You live with the results of all the decisions that you make. Okay, you're the only person responsible for your actions. And that is something that I find a lot of people get wrong. You know, it's easy to blame circumstances or things out of your control for your failures or the way you look at life. But at the end of the day, until you take personal responsibility, you can never move to the next step, and that is to find solutions. Only when I get to the stage where I say to myself, all right, it's all up to me, nobody else. Because if you don't do that, it means you're giving other people or circumstances power over your life. And to me, that's not acceptable. So if I succeed, it's me. If I fail, it's me. So I want to succeed. So I will personally take responsibility for my success. Your success, and I cannot overemphasize this, is more to do with your attitude than anything else, because the solutions are there. But if you sit there in a dark corner, eating worms, you will not be able to find solutions. And there's a certain comfort, and I've seen it, you know, when people get down, there's almost a certain comfort in feeling negative and feeling sorry for yourself. But that's not going to help you get through that. It's not going to help you. It's not going to help you create a lifestyle and a life that you want to live. You're free to choose whatever action you want to take, but you're not free of the consequences. So, of course, you've got a choice. You can sit in the corner and feel sorry for yourself, but there are consequences to that. You can also go out and make things happen, and there are consequences to that too, and hopefully positive consequences. Okay? Doing nothing is also an action. So you can choose to do nothing or to do something. So some of the ideas that we're going to present today are going to try and give you ideas that you can put into your salon. But more importantly, they are there to provide you inspiration. Because if you're inspired to look around for opportunities, opportunities will come. Successful people are not people that get given special opportunities that other people don't. Successful people are those that take advantage of the situation they're in. You're going to have failures. You're going to have disappointments. It's your ability to get past it that will make all the difference in the world. So let's take a look at the challenges that we have as an industry, as a country, as a society, and let's try and share a few ideas on how we can get past them. Now, again, I repeat my point that these ideas are there to inspire you. You should be able to come with 10 more ideas sitting on your own. And very quickly, I just want to share a challenge that I put to my staff about 2 years ago. We always try and be creative in everything that we do. We try and come up with things that have never been thought of before. We try and make all our presentations, our educations and seminars exciting and different. So I was struggling to get my staff to understand how creativity works. And the very simple concept of creativity is you got to ask yourself the question, how am I going to be more creative? If you do not do that, you'll be doing the same stuff over and over again, like you've been doing it in the past. So what I did is I got my staff together and I got all my marketing managers and said, right, guys, by Friday next week, that is 1 week, I'd like you to come up with a promotion, but I want the promotion to be different to anything you've ever done. And I want it to be radically different. Now, when I said that, I could see all the staff sitting around there with buggle eyes saying, well, what does that actually mean? I mean, how different can we be? You know, we are limited in the industry we're in, we're limited with the experience that we have, we are limited with the products that we do. How can we do something radically different? And I said, look, I don't care. You've got to come up with something radically different. Well, let me tell you what happened. After the meeting, they had to do something by next Friday. So what they did is they started meeting as a team. The following Friday came and asked everybody to do their presentations. And without fail, every single one of them was radically different to anything they've ever done before. Then I challenged them again. I said, right, guys, you came up with something different. Next Friday, I want you to do exactly the same thing, a radically different idea. In that moment, they thought it was impossible until they started looking at how they can answer that question. They met with their team, and by the following Friday, they came up with another radical idea. I did that 4 times, and all 4 times the ideas they came up with were radically different to anything we'd ever done. The point is that creativity was not created. That creativity was always in them. The opportunity was always there. What this did is it put the opportunity in their face. They had to sit and answer that particular question. And until you can do that in your business, you will never be able to maximize the opportunities that are there. So your mindset is the most important thing you can possibly do. But let's get a little bit more practical and let's look at some of the challenges that we have. The first one is inflation. Now, inflation in South Africa has always been a thing. We've got it under control in the early 2000s and 90s. We've got inflation. Our inflation was up to 25%. And we've got it down to, depending on where we are, at about 5, 6, 7%. Now, that is something we've learned to live with. But around the world, 2, 3, 4% inflation has always been scary for economies. Now, some economies like the UK are getting closer to 10%. The reality is that the inflation around the world will start affecting us because we are still a big import economy. And if the inflation starts growing at some stage, the prices to us will start growing. Plus, we have a local inflation. And the reality is with the brands that we have, their prices are going up. There's a shortage of everything from packaging to raw ingredients. And you know that because every single brand has been impacted. Certain products are being reformulated. Certain products are just no longer available. And there's major delays in delivery. The cost of getting products to South Africa has inflated significantly. The prices of shipping have come down, but in the last 2 years, we had a big impact on our margin due to shipping inflation. So the inflation is there. There's nothing you can do about it. Sorry, you got to accept it. But what are we going to do about it? Well, the first thing is you've got to pass on the price increases to consumers. You're all terrified of having price increases. And every time you have a price increase, you are very apologetic to your clients. I'm sorry, I've got to have another price increase. Let me tell you the reality. You're not in control of this. Inflation is something bigger than all of us. It's an economic problem. And if we allow our businesses to absorb those inflationary increases, we will go out of business. You can do 10 billion rand in your salon. If you do it at the wrong margin, you will go broke. So Twincare has no choice but to have price increases at the 1st of March. We do it every single year, but they are bigger than usual. I urge you to pass on those increases. You may get 1 or 2 clients that leave. Very few, trust me. And if you look back at all the price increases you've had, you've lost very few clients. Rather make the right margins and do slightly less clients than put your business under stress. It's not your job to pay the price for what has happened in the economy. Obviously, keep your price increases logical and acceptable, but pass them on and do not be scared of passing on reasonable price increases. The next important thing is to give your clients notice. Do not just tell them when they're sitting in your chair, oh, by the way, we've had a price increase. Put notices up maybe 2 months before. Dear client, due to the inflation pressures my salon and the industry is having, we will have a price increase on the 1st of April. Put it on there so nobody's surprised. And talk to your clients. If somebody complains about inflation, have the conversation. Say, guys, we are under pressure. Everything is going up. My stock supply is going up. The exchange has hurt the actual price of the products. Everything is going up. Our rates, electricity. I cannot keep up with the prices that I've got. So please support me. Communication with your clients is very important. And that is something I'm going to try and I don't know if any of you can guess what happened, but we had a power failure. So we're on generator power. Okay, let me get it back up. Okay. All right, I hope you can all hear me. Who can you see on there can give us a thumbs up?
Thanks, we can hear and see you.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so going on to continuing with the inflation, one of the ideas that I think you can try when you have price increases, especially those difficult clients really complain, is look at your quieter days and try and fill those. The problem a lot of salons have is on Fridays and Saturdays, you can't take any more appointments because you get fully booked and you possibly lose clients. Try and fill your Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, whenever your quiet days. And the clients that really complain about price, tell them that you'll give them a discount if they come in one of the quieter days. But the reality, guys, is inflation is here to stay. I think at least, well, in South Africa, it's been part of our economy for years. And internationally, I think it's going to be another 12 months or 18 months until they get inflation under control. But we need to learn how to live in an inflationary environment. Okay, the next point is everybody's favorite, load shedding. So again, if we look at load shedding the way we looked at COVID, when it first started happening, or when it first started happening in the intensity that it's happening at the moment, we all thought, well, we're going to lose our business. You know, you lose 4 hours of your day, you halve your turnover. So that becomes a very scary thing to look at. But then what we start doing is that we start finding solutions to our problems. Remember what I said about learning how to be a problem solver, learning how to anticipate problems and learning how to find solutions to them. So we started changing the way we're doing business. So the obvious solution to load shedding is to put a generator in. But not all of us have generators, or some of us are reliant on shopping centers that don't have generators. Well, the reality is there's certain things you can't change, but you can learn how to deal with them. So the kind of things that I suggest you do is firstly tell your clients when load shedding is happening, because they might be in a different area where their load shedding schedule is different to yours. And they may assume that their load shedding is the same as yours. So they have an appointment for 12 o'clock, they lose power and they think you are no longer in business. So when you make appointments for your clients, tell them you'll communicate the load shedding schedule. And more importantly, if you do have generating power, tell them. So Mr. Smith, you booked for 12 o'clock next week, Tuesday, please arrive, we do have a generator. So even if there's load shedding, we can help you. But more importantly, try and come up with ideas on how to do services that do not necessarily require electricity. If you're in the beauty industry specifically, there's a lot of services you can do without electricity. Obviously, you can't do any of the machine services, but you can do facials, you can do massage. Tell your clients that. In hairdressing, you need to come up with menus, load shedding menus. You've got to change the way we look at it. You know, if I look at the way I interact with my friends and some of my staff, the first couple of months of load shedding, we were all angry and irritated. Now it's become like a joke. We'll sit in the meeting, load shedding, the power will go out and we'll start giggling, load shedding, load shedding. So try and turn it into something positive as far as you can. Or at the very least, try and find a way to deal with it. And an important thing that I find is to try and get your clients to understand that load shedding affects your business and you need their help to get through it. Believe me, they live in the same world, in the same country, in the same economy as you do. So they will commiserate with you. They will try and help you in your business. You know, if we have a relationship with our clients, they want you to be successful. They want you to stay in business. And if you appeal to them as human beings, you'll create a tighter relationship. You know, usually when there's adversity, people come together, but you've got to create that central rallying point for them to come together around. So I think it's very important that you have a plan for your load shedding. Come up with a load shedding menu, try and mitigate as much load shedding supply as you can, whether it's generators or batteries or solar power, whatever you can. But the reality is, regardless of what we hear from our government, this is here to stay, at least for another year. Okay, then it gets worse. The water is starting to be affected because apparently with load shedding, the motors that fill our reservoirs are not working. So water's starting to be affected. And this is one that's a little bit more difficult, not so much in skincare, but in the hairdressing industry, because you need the back basins to rinse your surfaces. Well, I mean, the most obvious solution would be tanks, but in most shopping centers and a lot of people just don't have access to tanks. So the only alternative is for you to try and come up with services that are less reliant on water. And when there's times of when the water is running out, again, communicate to your clients and let them know you have a problem and offer them an alternative service. I mean, it's not ideal, but somebody can have a haircut without water. Like you can spray it and you can maybe give them a product or a voucher or something they can do at home as a compensation to blow drying their hair. You need to stay in business, guys. So all these water, it's wetter. Oh, okay. Water. You know, when you look at a word, it looks weird. Okay. So I think it's important that we find a way to overcome these problems. Water is definitely the most difficult. The final thing I want to say about water and electricity, we have one more tool in our arsenal, and that is our vote. So if we're not happy with the way our country is run, we have to go out at the next elections and make our voices heard. But this is not a political speech, just my 50-cent worth. Okay, then the online challenge. I think over the last 2 years, online has become a serious issue that our industry is trying to deal with. There are certain things you can change, certain things you can't change. Businesses get challenged all the time. One of the most basic tenets of marketing is that a new idea is developed. That idea gets maximized by the business. Everybody else sees that that particular industry is making money and everybody piles in and tries to eat a piece of your pie. And if you look at hairdressing and if you look at skincare, 30 years ago or 35 years ago, retail was not a big part of our business. Then we created and we fought to get a piece of the retail business. Now, what has been happening is all the competitors in the retail world are looking at the professional industry and saying there's an opportunity for professional products. So they've been piling in, trying to find a way to take a piece of our market share. The online business is very similar. There's an opportunity that's been created by the professional business. And the online business is something that has changed society, will continue to change society. We cannot go against that. If you look at the music industry 15 years ago, they really got into trouble when they tried to find online music. And there was pirating and serious problems in the industry. And they had to find solutions to that. Well, the reality is online is too good a service for the consumer for them to come into your salon and buy retail unless we give them a reason to do that. So you need to look at online as here to stay, and you need to find out on how you're going to challenge it and keep your market share. The most obvious thing is to create your own online store, which is challenging, expensive, and difficult to run. But more importantly, you need to give your consumers a reason to buy a product in your salon, whether it's matching some of the deals that are happening online, or whether it is giving them an additional benefit for them coming to buy in your salon, or creating loyalty programs. The reality, again, is online is here to stay. What are you going to do about changing it? So I just want to end this part of the presentation by just reading a quote. And that is, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. The point of this is, don't fixate too much on the things that are out of your control. You can't fix the country's electricity challenge. You can't fix the country's water problems. You can't fix inflation. But you can fix the things that affect you directly. So don't fixate on the wrong things. Focus on the things that you can change. Okay. All right, just very quickly now, if we look at the past 2 years, now if we look at where we are at the moment, we are on the cusp of a change. We don't know if the change is going to be negative or positive. And there was a report from Standard Bank in the weekend, you might have seen it, but they're still projecting growth in South Africa, in spite of the fact that we have about a third of our day, we've got power failures and water outages. So one of the things it does say to us that we are resilient as an economy. We are resilient as business people. And if we look at the last 2 years, the last 2 years have been good. Obviously, there's been people that have been hurt. Obviously, there have been businesses that have closed down. But generally, as an industry, we've done okay, taking into account the challenge that we've had. And that is because other industries have really paid the price. All the money that people were spending on going on overseas travel and going weekends away, all the travel savings, they've been able to spend on other things. We also had rate cuts for the previous couple of years, where the rates were down to numbers not seen for the last 20 years. They've started going up since, and obviously that's going to have an impact on our economy. But that money flowed back into the economy. Also, we realized that consumers are resilient. We are in the A and B income group as an industry. One of the things that I was terrified about is our more expensive brands. That was Kevin Murphy and Olaplex. I thought these brands are going to be hit hardest. Those brands had record years because we are in a different consumer income level. And you've got to keep in mind that is an important thing that affects your business. A lot of us anticipate that people are going to spend less, and we offer less because we think we're going to earn less. Well, that's a big mistake that you can make in your business. And then the fourth thing is that we've learned to survive. We've got through some difficult times. It may get worse, but we have learned how to anticipate challenges and problems and get through that. So what does all this mean? I mean, where do we go forward from here? Because the way we look at our future now, with all the challenges we have currently, probably looks as scary as the first couple of weeks of COVID. But again, we have new opportunities because not all our competitors are going to be able to handle problems like we do, or so we hope. So now we have new challenges that we've got to overcome. And let's take a look. Oh, tell me this thing's jammed again. Can you guys see me? Oh, there we go. Okay, so let's just take a look at the very basics of running a business. Essentially, if you simplify business, it's about getting your revenues or your turnover to grow as much as possible and keep your costs as low as possible. Now, the difference between the two, hopefully, if your revenue is above your cost, is your profit. If it goes the other way, then you get into serious trouble. So the second part of the presentation, I'm going to focus on what you can do to keep your costs down, because usually when things get tough, that's the first place we run to. And that can be a very dangerous place. Obviously, keeping your costs down is important, but you cannot do that to the cost of your turnover. Okay, so the first thing is you've got to keep your salon stock lean. Now, there's a fine line between keeping your stock at the right level and going too low. But what I do see in a lot of salons, you seem to be overstocked on your color or your skincare professional stock, and you let your retail stock run too low. Well, the thing to consider on the right level of stock is you need to work out the turn of the stock. How much stock do I use in a particular week? If you look at how long it takes Twincare to deliver, or any of your suppliers, we take between 24 and 72 hours to supply you stock. So that means if you run out of something or you run low on something, you can get it in 2 to 3 days. So the stock you really need is about a week's stock. Maybe that's a bit lean, but you need to keep your stock as lean as possible because you can replace that stock pretty quickly. And more importantly, we've got the Twincare professional outlets that are in your different areas, where if it's really bad and you can't wait 24 hours, you can send one of your staff members and buy it off the shelf. So keep your retail stock lean. That does not mean you should be running out of stock. Okay, the second thing is on the hair care side, run down your 1,000 colors of different brands. Okay, that's an exaggeration. But I walk into a lot of salons and they've got 4 or 5 different brands. And often the owners will say to me, you know, I have to have this particular color because that hairdresser just, has to have that color. Guys, that's rubbish. You've got to have the colors that you need. You cannot start stocking or overstock on your color to keep the one hairdresser happy. You need to have a conversation with that hairdresser, get them on board, let them understand your challenges, and believe me, if they're reasonable, they will help you. So keep your brands, different color brands down to an absolute minimum. If I was running a salon, I would have one color brand. That's it. You don't need it. Every color brand on the market now can cater to any color. And all the colors are great, guys, believe me. The days when there were major differences in the quality of color are gone. Focus on wastage. I know you all do that and you moan to your staff about it, but change it from moaning to engaging with them. If they know the impact it has on your business, they will support you. They live in the same world that you do. They have financial challenges. They can see that consumers may be spending less, and they will want to support you if they understand that they have to take some responsibility for the challenges that you got. What I've done next is I just want to do a very quick review on color, because what I would be doing if I was running a salon is I would be looking at the first thing is the quality of what the color can deliver. If you're going to have a cheaper color and it can't deliver the quality you did in the water. But once you have different brands that can all provide the same quality, the next logical step is to look at pricing. Now I'm going to try and fly through the next couple of slides. Now what I've done is, obviously I can't mention names, but I've taken the pricing of a major competitor. And what I've done is I've taken the cost of the product, then I've taken the size, and in this case 60 mils, and I've taken the cost of the peroxide. I've also assumed that this product is a 1-to-1 mix. And then I've worked on different applications, but let's just look at the 60 mil application. So this particular product, if you work out the ratios, one application of 60 mil is 75.88. Now, I've also done that with Joico. I've just taken one of our colors. I've done exactly the same exercise on the way we price our products. Okay, and these are both before discount, our competitors and us. It comes to 55 Rand, move this thing out the way. Sorry, 55 Rand 77. That is a 26%. Okay, now it's stuck again. Sorry guys, I'm having technical issues again. There we go. It is 26% cheaper than our competitive product. Okay, if you buy 100,000 rands worth of color in a year, and that is a smallish salon, that's a 26,000 rand saving. Okay, now I'm not here to push Twincare products specifically, although they are fantastic. I think what I'm trying to do is to get you to relook at the way you look at your business. If you're going to cut costs, look at every single area of your business to see where the cost opportunities are. And then retail, everybody's favorite. Okay, so a couple of things on retail rules. The first thing is don't overstock. So what I'm going to say next is not for you to put more stock on your shelf. It's to put the right level of stock on your shelf. And in order to do that, you need to know what your stock turn is, how fast it sells, and what products need to be there. If you only look at your fast movers and only stock your fast movers, believe me, it will affect your retail, because there are certain support products that you need. If you only stock your single fastest product, let's assume it's Moroccan oil, the oil, you would not make your retail turnover that you're making now. You need the shampoo and the conditioner. And if you need the shampoo and conditioner, you need a few styling aids. So you need to work at what your minimum is. If the product range has got 100 products, I'm not for 1 minute suggesting that you stock all 100 products. But you need to stock the family of the products that support each other. And what that means is you've got to learn what that means. And you've got to get your reps to help you have the right stock levels. Okay, get rid of non-performing brands. It is so frustrating when I walk into salons and you've got a brand that was selling 5 years ago and you're still persevering with that. You've got 3 or 4 products on the shelf. Get rid of it. Every year you should review your brands if you've got a multi-brand salon, and get rid of the 3 or 4 bottom performing brands and maybe experiment with something new. Look around you to see what's selling. The important thing about retail is it's not what you like. The consumers don't care what you like. The consumers want what they want. And you got to be stocking what consumers are buying everywhere else. Stock brands that are on the up, and you should be looking around for the brands that are taking off. Okay, recently Olaplex has just taken the market by storm. You should be stocking Olaplex. We launched a 10, and I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes. And I don't want to focus too much on our brands, but look around at the brands that are taking off, whether they're Twincare brands or anybody else's, and stock them. And get rid of, so if you stock 2 new brands, get rid of the 2 bottom brands that are not performing. You're going to keep churning your stock to stay ahead of what the consumers are wanting. Okay. Ask for your suppliers for promotional help, especially when you're taking on the online industry. Guys, don't ask us for free stock. We hate that word. We do want to help you. Ask us for promotional support where we can add value. Because if we give you free stock, you just put it on your shelf and it makes no difference to any of our sales. Maybe your margin improves slightly, but it doesn't make any difference to the long-term success of your business. You need to create loyalty by giving stuff away and giving your consumers a reason to come back into your salon. So we are always happy to help you with promotions, but you've got to ask us. Keep your shelves full. Now, at the top, I said, do not overstock. At the bottom, I said, keep your shelves full. The 2 work together. Having too much stock costs you money because it chews up your cash flow. Not not having enough stock affects your business because you don't have products to sell. And more importantly, it sends a signal to your consumer that the salon is under pressure. Believe me, they know what they're looking for. They walk into supermarkets, and if they walk to the supermarket and half the shelves are empty, they'll go to the supermarket around the corner. Okay, and at the end of the day, you've got to have a management system. You've got to have a system on how you manage your stock. When do I order? What do I order? How do I order? How do I decide what to keep, what to discontinue, how to introduce? Yeah, so what I've done is I put a little silly story together just to illustrate this point. Okay, I've called it Jenny's story. It's a short little story. Jenny was running a successful salon in one of Durban's top shopping centers. Jenny had a great salon, great staff, and a comfortable lifestyle. Jenny took advantage of the passing trade that she had paid so much rent for by having a great retail business. Retail made up 30% of her turnover and generated new business from consumers coming in to buy retail. But then load shedding began to hurt Jenny's business. Her sales began to be affected as her clients extended weeks between their services. As Jenny's turnover began to decline, she continued her lifestyle and continued the level of her salon expenses. This began to affect her cash flow. Jenny began by looking at her expenses and concluded that cutting down on the stock would give the most immediate relief. So Jenny slowly allowed her stocks to run down. Very soon, her stock ran out to 20% of its average turnover. The stock on the shelf dropped to less than half, and her professional stock began to run out. Her product suppliers warned her that her shelves looked dangerously low, but she responded that this was because her sales were significantly down. This continued until very little retail remained on the shelf. She began to experience cash flow problems, and soon her suppliers stopped supplying her. Once her professional stock ran out, her staff began to leave, and sadly, her salon began to close. Now, as silly and as obvious as this story sounds, we see it in reality in salons we visit all the time. So what are the lessons from the story? I made a couple of points. Jenny's retail began to slow down because she had no stock to sell. And I often go to salons and they've got no retail on the shelves. I say to them, why is your retail so low? This is, no, consumers aren't buying. They're not buying. Of course they're not buying. They don't have the stuff to buy. It is so frustrating for me. You know, it sounds a little bit mercenary, but the first thing you should pay is your stock. Then pay your staff, then pay your rent. Because if you do not have stock to sell, you will not be able to pay your staff, and you'll definitely not be able to pay your rent. So your stock is the first thing you should be looking at, because that gives you the tools to generate money. Okay. Jenny's professional stock began to run out, and she lost her clients and her staff, of course. So if your staff are seeing the writing on the wall, they start running out of retail. That's the first sign. Then they start running out of the colors, and they'll come to you and say, well, mix number 3 and number 5 to get a 4. Okay, and then it gets worse and worse and worse and worse. They start thinking they don't want to go down with your salon. So make sure your stock level on professional is also right. Okay, Jenny was in the business of selling products and services. She no longer had anything to sell. Once you run out of the stuff you're selling, you don't have a business. You've got expenses. Jenny landed up with expenses and nothing to sell. Okay, Jenny was no longer had a hairdressing salon, or a beauty salon for that matter, but had an expense for a while anyway, because Jenny went broke afterwards. And hopefully that story makes the point about how important it is that we look at every aspect of our business and have a plan for every aspect of our business. The next thing I want to talk about is staff. And I think the starting point with staff is that the staff live in the same society and the same economic environment that we do. If your turnover goes down, because most of our staff in skin and hair are commission-based, their income gets affected. So when you run your stock down, consumers stop coming in, their turnover is affected as much as yours. So working on staff morale, I think, is a very important part. So really, the economy has a psychological component. So when the rates go up, nobody's impacted immediately. It takes till the end of the month until the rates increase and you've got slightly less money in your bank account. But psychologically, everybody starts cutting back. So you hear about the rate increase, you hear about the electricity prices going up, food prices going up. Wherever you turn, prices are going up. And psychologically, you start pulling back, so hang on a sec. There are difficult times ahead. I don't want to get myself in a position I've got no cash. So you've got to manage that. Okay. You've got to manage the mindset of your staff. And it always starts with a salon owner. If you start bringing your negativity to work, and it's tough, guys, okay, especially when you are under pressure, it's hard to come to work and be your normal motivated person than when business is going well. But you don't have a choice. You have built your own business. You are the leader. You're the owner of the business, and it's your responsibility to make sure that you keep everybody motivated and focused. Okay. You can communicate what your challenges are without being negative about it. And you can have a simple conversation. Staff, as you know, we're under pressure. I need you to help me grow the sales and keep our costs down, stop the wastage. Those kind of conversations about bringing confidence will get their support. And the most important thing is to celebrate your wins. When you've done something well, when somebody's hit a new target, or if you survived a month at the very least, get your staff together and say, guys, we've done so well this month. We thought it was going to be a tough month. We got through it. Let's keep the positivity. Let's keep focused on the things that made us succeed in the last month. So celebrate your wins of the staff. Maybe go out once a month and get them cookies, or, it's the small things that show the staff that they appreciate it. Get them to feel that they are in this war with you. These challenges need to be dealt with as a salon. You can't do them on your own. Then I want to move on to the next thing, and that is I'm going to start moving a little bit. There's a serious staff problem in the industry that has been around since I've started in this industry, but it seems to have got worse. And that is because schools are closing down. They're no longer profitable. I mean, they are still around, but they are half the schools that they were 5 or 6 years ago. And the second thing is a lot of school leavers aren't considering hairdressing or beauty as a career. So there's two things we can do. We can sit back and complain like we've always done, or we can try and be proactive and do something by going to find our own staff. So I think the most important opportunity is to look at the staff they've already got. A lot of salons have got very competent operators in their salon, or cleaning ladies. Try and find a way to upskill them. I went to a salon about a month ago, and they had this lady that was working in a beauty salon for years. She'd been cleaning the rooms. And she went to the owner and said, ma'am, I've been here for years. I want to find a way to earn more money. Can you teach me to do the most basic service in your salon? And that is massage. And the salon owner firstly was surprised, but she never considered it. But she spent a little bit of time teaching this lady to massage. And this lady has started earning a decent salary because her passion and her need to grow herself in the salon created this person that could do fantastic massages. So she created an opportunity for someone in a salon, and also for her salon, she's got an extra staff member that can do services in the salon. And if you do employ somebody that starts off as an apprentice, you can enroll them in the schools that are still around. Or you can train them yourself in the salon to do certain services that do not require a formal education. They can earn a living and you can make more money. Okay? You have a future that you owe to your staff members. When somebody joins your business, it's not only about what they can give you, it's also what you can give your staff. You have to create a future for your staff. This is a relationship that works both ways. And salons that only see staff members as what they can generate for them are going to lose those staff members. Okay, so in conclusion of the first part of the presentation is, guys, you never stop learning. You have to find a way that you can teach yourself the skills that you need to succeed. A lot of salons are sending their staff on product training and cutting courses and beauty therapy courses, but you don't do anything as a salon owner to get yourself up to speed and on understanding what the new way of running businesses are. So maybe today's an example, and possibly I'm speaking to the converted. But if you don't keep up to date with opportunities and what is happening in the industry, your salon will fail. The days of easy business are over. I don't need to tell you that. You know that. Things are getting competitive. There are challenges beyond our control. We've got to stay as sharp, as focused, and competitive as possible. So the last point I'd like to make again in this section is think of the consequences if you do nothing. So after today's presentation, you can go back to your salon and just carry on the way you were doing or the way you were going before. But you know where you will be because you've changed nothing. So you've got to go back and rethink the way you look at your business. And I started off by saying how I challenged my staff on coming up with new creative ideas. Do the same for yourself. Sit down and say, I will look at this white piece of paper with no ideas, and I will not leave this desk until I've come up with 5 new things I want to implement in my salon. And believe me, the page looks very blank in the beginning. But if you sit and think about it, you will find things to write down. And more importantly, if you get your staff to be part of the process, you start generating and inspiring each other to come up with ideas. So you've got to do something. Otherwise, you're just going to bumble along and your business is going to go broke. Okay, so I quickly want to go through the second part of the presentation, like I said, and this is to run through the marketing plan that we have this year as a company. I think we have tried to balance education and motivation and product launches as much as we can. The point of these marketing plans is to generate more turnover for all of us. These marketing plans that we put together fail if they do not make more money for you, because they become little parties, and that's not the point of why we put them together. The marketing plan is there to grow all our businesses on education and products. So let's just go through some of the specifics that we're putting together. Firstly, next week, Monday, I think we have quite a good turnout for that already, and most of you might know this. In Johannesburg, on the 20th of February, we have a new color gloss launch, part of the Kevin Murphy range, and we're doing the same launch on the 13th of March in Cape Town. Durban, we're going to be putting dates a little bit later on in the month. So that is Kevin Murphy. Then Matisse is presenting some new products as well as their new marketing plan on the 26th of April, and the team will communicate more details. With all of these, just pencil a date in your diary, so at least you know what's coming. You will get more detail from the sales team. And then probably the biggest seminar that we're doing this year, and the biggest seminar we've done for a long time, and that is the Joico Color Festival that we're doing. The big event is going to happen in Cape Town, and we're going to do a slightly smaller event in Johannesburg. Johannesburg date is still to be announced, but in Cape Town, we're doing it on the 21st of May. Now, we are bringing a spectacular team out, and I want to play a video. I hope you can hear the audio of the team that we're bringing out. You can hear it. Myself. Don't have this. Maybe so there's no sound, so there's sound. It's national media. Okay, that didn't work. Okay, guys, I'm going to try and get it to work again. So I'm not going to play that video again. Oh, there we go. All right, so anyway, sorry about that. I think the sound wasn't coming through. So the Mark Anthony team, I think that needs absolutely no introduction in the hairdressing industry, is going to be out in May. So speak to your consultants. There's going to be a lot of advertising and a lot more information to come out on that. I think that's going to be very exciting. Then Moroccan Oil is going through one of the most important changes since the brand was established. And we're launching a new color range, which we have spent a lot of time sending our staff over and getting educated locally. And the color looks radically different and spectacular. Again, we're going to give you more information about that. But if you can save the date on the 4th of June, we're going to be launching the color. We will be doing a lot of education before that, a lot of teaser campaigns, but this is going to be a major development for Moroccan Oil. Then we opened up a TPO in Namibia last year. It's run by Angie in Namibia, and she's done a fantastic job for a very short period of time. So what we will be doing is we will be putting a couple of days together in Namibia. We're going to bring an international seminar. We're going to bring in the Twincare winter collection, which I'll speak about in a minute. and we're going to do some practical hands-on color and cutting techniques and education. So speak to your TPO. I think that's going to be very exciting. And believe me, it's going to be spectacular. If it's one thing that Twincare knows, how to put spectacular seminars together. Then a new concept that we're introducing. This is going to be an education weekend. It'll be a Sunday and a Monday. There'll be a short business and retail section. Then there's going to be a major cutting and, sorry, just one second. Sorry, let me share the presentation. Sorry, guys. Okay. All right, the education weekend away, there'll be a business and retail section, but there'll also be hands-on cutting and color on mannequins. And all my staff have been, over the last 3 months, have been on overseas training from all our brands. And we're going to be bringing some of the latest techniques. And believe me, there's some really exciting stuff that's coming out. It's going to be done on mannequin heads. So you're going to leave with the practical skills that you need. We only have 100 openings for that, and they will be sold by brand, and the cutting and color education will be done by brand. So speak to consultants about that. I think it's going to be a very different weekend. And that's going to happen, you can see, from on the 23rd and 24th of July. Oh, come on, guys. It's not changing. Okay, there we go. All right, then we are also reintroducing our spring collection. And obviously, because it's happening in July, it's going to be the winter collection in Namibia. But the way the spring collection works is we approach 20 hairdressers in each of the big cities, and we invite them to do 2 presentations of a model of their interpretation of what spring fashion is going to be for 2023. This has to be done in coordination with a fashion designer. So once you get your invitation, it'll be up to you to find a fashion designer that represents the looks that you want. And together you will present 2 models at the shows that we're going to be doing around the country. Dates again to follow. Some of the dates we have got, some we're still doing. Remember, it's early on the year, so specific dates will be communicated to you. Then professional beauty is one of the biggest events that we're going to do. Professional beauty has been around for 10, 15 years. And last year, I think when we looked around, we thought professional beauty could be done a lot better. So what we've done as Twincare now, we're going to take advantage of what professional beauty offers, and we're going to try and enhance that, and we're going to introduce some very exciting things that we're going to add onto professional beauty. So anybody attending professional beauty will have a lot more of what they will learn and what they'll experience in professional beauty. So I'm going to run through some of the things that we're going to be presenting. The first one is we're going to have an international seminar. We're bringing out a Paul Mitchell team at Professional Beauty, and that's going to be on the 3rd of September at the Gallagher Convention Center. So we're still finalizing who the artists are, but obviously with Paul Mitchell, you always know that you're going to get somebody spectacular. So that's going to be a morning international seminar with international guests. Then BioSense will be running the Junior Hairstylist of the Year competition. We have done it about 4 or 5 years ago, and we're going to do that periodically. So those of you that are looking to grow their career in the hairdressing industry, we're going to provide you with information of what is required. And believe me, this event is totally different and innovative. The ones that have done in the past absolutely love it. And we've got a very unique way on how we do it. Now, this will take place in the evening of the awards dinner. It's also going to happen over Professional Beauty. The awards dinner is there to celebrate and identify salons that have done exceptionally well. You know, as salon owners, you run your own business and nobody really notices if you do well. So it's a way for us as suppliers to say, well, we've noticed, thank you for your support and well done. So the awards dinner is also going to happen at Professional Beauty on the 3rd of September. Then we're going to have a barbering seminar at Professional Beauty. We're going to get some South Africa's top barbers to do some presentations, and we're going to have a surprise on that day as well. Then we're also going to have a barbering competition where entries will be submitted, and from there we'll decide on finalists, and we'll have a barbering competition, which will also happen at Professional Beauty. Now, sorry, what I did forget to add is at Professional Beauty, the Johannesburg Spring Collection will happen at Professional Beauty as well. Now, besides that, we're going to have stands in Professional Beauty itself that everybody will get tickets for, free of charge. for you to come and attend. So professional beauties as a concept will change radically. It will be worthwhile to come and visit it because there will be so much happening. We've tried to cram as much innovation, education, and fun as we can in one weekend. So hopefully all of you will attend. Now, I'm just quickly going to fly through some of the new product launches that we have coming in the different brands. So firstly, Gino, we have an anti-aging longevity treatment, the Age Mum, as part of the Age Mum range. That will be coming out in the next couple of months. We have the Hydro Mum treatment. Then a major innovation that we've introduced in bioceuticals. We've been experimenting with this brand. It has been for sale for a couple of months. Now we have developed a radically different education program for this, and that we're going to launch sometime in April. So look out for that. I think you'll find it very different to anything you've ever attended, and we think this range is going to be a winner for us. Then Olaplex. Olaplex is launching.
Yes.
Okay, next. Okay, because the video won't play. So Olaplex is launching 3 products. It is the 4C, the 4D, and the chelating treatment. They are really deep cleansing treatments. Those are going to happen over the next 2 months as well. Kevin Murphy is coming up with a blow dry range, which is going to be launched in April. Then It's a 10. We started off by launching one product of It's a 10, and it really has done unbelievably well. So we are launching 2 new ranges, the Keratin range and the Coily, which is for very curly hair. I think this product, a lot of products and brands have tried to take advantage of that market, but nobody's really done it well. Wait till you test this brand. So if you've got curly hair and you want to keep those strong curls, then try this out. We'll be doing major sampling on all these new brands like we did with the first introduction. Then Tea Tree is launching a special detox treatment, and it's really for deep scalp cleansing. Then Mitch is going through a packaging change, some stunning new packaging. Then iHair, the hair extension business is something that we've been playing around with for the last couple of years. And now we have found a quality that we are very excited about. Our packaging, our education, and the whole marketing concept of iHair is going to be very different. Over the next couple of months, we're going to be rolling that out. So look out for it. I think you'll see something very different. There's some bad news, unfortunately, for those of you that have been stocking Luma. We've had major supply problems with the owners of Luma in Australia. The brand has changed hands recently, and it's just not working. So unfortunately, we have no choice but to cancel the brand. Okay, then on our website, besides everything that we presented, which will be on our website, we also have extensive educational classes that all our brands are doing. Some of you might have attended the classes that we do. We do them on mannequin heads now, and the practical experience you take home after those is significant. So if you want to upskill, if you want to learn new techniques, go onto our website and find the education program that will suit you and what you're looking for. And then an important program that we introduced a couple of years ago, it's our TDP, or the Twincare Development Program. It's an in-salon and lecture program that one of our staff by the name of Star in Cape Town has put together. It is unbelievable. There's a coaching section, there's a business development section. She can come into your salon, look at your business and make suggestions on how to improve it. Star is very experienced. She's been in the industry almost as long as I have, and she puts together a very different program. So again, there'll be more information shared on this, but I suggest as salons, you look at this. I spoke about how important education is for salon owners. This would be my starting point. Okay, then one final thing that we are also launching, we have teamed together with a motivational speaker we've used over the years by the name of Renus. He is fun, he's creative, he's definitely entertaining, and he will be introducing a new concept that will find a way to engage with you and your staff. I think the days of motivational speakers just standing on stage have become limited. Obviously, for big seminars, there's a certain relevance to that. But the question is, what happens when your staff leave a seminar? Well, that is a question that Renus is trying to answer. So with Renus, we are introducing a program where we will find a way to communicate ideas through social media, through WhatsApps, through emails, to keep you inspired, to give you business ideas, to keep your staff motivated. So generally, if you look at where we are as a company, We have tried to identify what the challenges are for the coming year, and we've tried to put programs together to help you improve your business. If I can end off with one thing, and that is the slide I put on, that you have to do something. You cannot go back to your business and expect things to just change magically. You need to feel like you're in control of your business. Your business is too important to allow external forces over which you have no control to determine the success of your business. So in conclusion, I'd like to thank you all for attending the seminar. I hope you got some value out of it. Remember to engage with our website and engage with our staff to get more specific information of what our plans are for the next year. So good luck. I'll see you out in the industry, and let's go and make some money. Guys, thank you very much.
It's
not on mute yet, guys. That's the one, yeah. Just make it.